Never have I quite been so excited to receive a package. It's not because of any exciting things on the inside. I've received far more interesting LEGO packages before. It's more so because I thought this thing would honestly never show up. So hey, let's take a closer look. This was such an amazing, strange hassle from the get-go. It's an entertaining story, and it's well worth sharing with you all. It all began when I published the Clikit's Advent Calendar video. The video was by no means a tremendous success. It never was going to be. No one cares about Clikits except the few awesome nerds that hang around this channel, and I love you very much, and I'm glad you got a hoot out of that video. Those who did watch it had such a positive reception to it. I went out basically the very next day and started looking for Clikit's Advent Calendar number 2 from 2005 with the intention of just getting my hands on it so I could make a video for this upcoming Christmas. The 2005 Clikit's Advent Calendar is much rarer than the 2004 one. In fact, there was no available copies in the US that I could find either on eBay or on Bricklink. And so I did the next best thing and looked to Canada, where indeed there was a copy of the set sealed. On the terms page, the guy said, hey, if you have a question about a quote, about what it would cost to ship to your country, just let me know. And so I shot him a message and said, hey, I've got my eyes on that super desirable Clikit's Advent Calendar. Can you please give me a quote for that? I submitted this request on December 20th, not expecting a reply. It's obviously the middle of the Christmas season, and so I ended up waiting just about 8 days. Got a reply on the 28th saying that, hey, sorry about the delay in the reply. It's gonna be about 25 bucks. And I'm like, that's honestly not too bad, because I realize it's going to be in a big package if it's coming sealed. That was just going to be the way it was. And we're back to the waiting game. Well, that's when I receive a message from the seller out of the blue saying that there has been a horrible mistake. That's something you never want to read in anything, especially when you got a $90 Clikit's Advent Calendar riding on it. It turns out he had 2 international orders he had been shipping out, and the boxes got mixed up and the labels got on the wrong boxes, and the Clikit's Advent Calendar had ended up in Texas with some poor soul who wanted a vintage train set. He told me in the next few days I would be receiving a rather valuable vintage train set. I can't help but think about that poor guy in Texas who's excited to get his vintage train that he ordered from Canada, that he probably paid $30 to have shipped to him too. He opens it up and he gets a freaking Clikit's Advent Calendar. Beautiful, bright pink box, perfectly new and sealed. And sure enough, a few days later, I receive a package, and I was instructed very specifically not to open it. So I don't really know what was in it besides the fact that it was indeed some sort of vintage train. I am dying to know what set in particular I decided to, out of the goodness of my heart, pass on to its rightful owner in the hopes that he would be willing to part with the Clikit's Advent Calendar and get it back to me. And today, on January 25th, this box, in really rough shape, arrived on my doorstep at 7 p.m. from the poor UPS guy in the snow. We're gonna find out definitively if the Clikit's Advent Calendar, which I have tried so hard to get my hands on, actually made it and is still sealed. Or did the train guy try to look for his train inside the Clikit's Advent Calendar? That's honestly my biggest fear at this point, is that he cracked the thing open. Not only this box, which he obviously repurposed again, but did he open the Advent Calendar too and look inside for a train? It has indeed been opened, and it's covered in dirt. Oh no, 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 no. Seriously. Looking for his train. Opened it up. Ooh. That bites a little bit. The tape has indeed been cut. I see pink packages in there, so it's not like he looted the Clikits. Like, what was Train Guy going to do with them? And I can't blame him for opening this and looking inside. It could have been a repurposed box. That's kind of gross though. Well, regardless, I have a complete, though slightly tampered with, 2005 Clikit's advent calendar. So I had a chance to talk to the seller about the condition in which this arrived. And surprisingly and very generously, he actually said he'd refund the entire purchase, including the shipping, which is more than he needed to do. He's obviously a good guy who made an honest mistake. Unfortunately, that mistake cost him personally, but it is very much appreciated on my end. A full refund for this was not by any means necessary, but he went and did it anyway. This is not in the condition that I wanted it to be, but even so, it's still going to make for an entertaining video come December. He has good intentions here. It was just a bad time for him in a bad series of events. That, as he told me, this was his first Bricklink snafu ever. He is a relatively new seller. What the moral of this story be? Things can happen on Bricklink. Orders can get mixed up. You can get stuff you didn't intend to get. But for the most part, there never really is malicious intent behind that. I mean, I know that he wasn't the one who opened the seals. It's the guy in Texas who was looking for a train inside of this. So, all that being said, I think this is a satisfactory result. And just remember, when you're shopping on Bricklink, to give people the benefit of the doubt and communicate. So many problems can be resolved. Don't just start throwing out negative feedback until you have a really good reason to do so, like you feel you were legitimately scammed. And in this case, I was not. It was an honest mistake by an honest person. So I'm gonna go bury this away for several months, and you'll be seeing it again in December. And I'm very much looking forward to doing that video again. If you haven't seen the first one, I don't know. I think it's one of the best videos on this channel. My wife and I put it together and it was tremendous fun. So you should check it out, and you can look forward to part 2 coming this Christmas. But that's all for this time. Thank you for listening to what basically came out to be Storytime with Cheesy. Have yourself an absolutely wonderful life, and I'll catch you next time.